Hey y'all, I'm Jeff Nowak, WWL digital sports producer, here getting ready to celebrate WWL Radio's 100th anniversary with a special guest, Herb Vincent, the current SEC Associate Commissioner. Prior to that, he spent 2 decades across a variety of roles within LSU's athletic department. Also a recent inductee into the College Sports Information Directors Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think what stands out to me is when you mention WWL to just about anyone, they talk about Saturday nights in Tiger Stadium. And this is from people who have followed football for years. I know here in the Southeastern Conference office, we go to football games. We send people out to all the different football games in the conference. And a lot of times I've heard stories about people driving back from afternoon games and they try to find WWL because they know that there's a football game on there in Tiger Stadium. And I think it really helped build the brand of LSU football over the years. I think WWL started broadcasting LSU football games in the late 1940s. And LSU was one of the few playing exclusively at night. So it was kind of appointment listening. And people from all over the country could tune in and hear LSU football. It really built the brand. There's always the legendary story in the 1980s. Bob Broadhead decided to change radio affiliates and took LSU football away from WWL. So for several years there, a short period of time, it was not on WWL, and it was a pretty big PR blunder to do something like that. And so when Joe Dean became athletics director in 1987, the very first thing he did, and he said he did it with hat in hand. He went down to New Orleans and talked to WWL and said, what can we do to get LSU back on the air? And it's been on ever since. And so LSU and WWL have always been married like that. And WWL has been an important part of LSU football history.
The LSU is playing at night so often in the, AM 870, you can get it in 40 states. When you're talking about growing the brand, how is that exposure to markets that might not have been able to experience the game? How have you seen that, over your years?
Oh, there's no doubt. There's people who before television, that was their exposure to LSU football. And so they could hear it, they could hear the noise, and they could envision what it looked like, what the experience was. And so I think that's when LSU became kind of a magical, mystical venue. Tiger Stadium did, because people listened to it, and so many people from so many different parts of the country heard it. And the fact that it was unique that LSU played at nighttime, and at nighttime is when WWL really reaches its greatest audience. It just all fit together. It was a perfect marriage.
You were close with Buddy D over the years. Are there any memories of Buddy D that you want to share? Maybe something that a lot of people might not know.
I don't know if there's anything in particular, just so many great stories about Buddy D. Before him, Hap Glotty, just those two people who over so many decades represented WWL and talked about sports and obviously the Saints and LSU. And those two, they're just huge personalities. And I'm not sure that they could have been, with their voices, accepted anywhere else except WWL. At WWL and in New Orleans, they're iconic and will remain iconic. So no particular stories, but those two are the two people I think of the most, when I think of WWL. And I think of Saints broadcasts, and there's a tie there too. Hokie Gajan, who played running back at LSU for so many years, was the color commentator on Saints football games, and then continued with Southeastern Conference connections there. You've got Archie Manning, you've got Deuce McAllister. So there's a lot of connections that go between the Saints and college football, LSU and WWL. It's just a tremendous story. And congratulations to WWL on 100 years of broadcasting, because they're truly iconic in Louisiana and all through the nation.